This is otherwise state champ Alex Thompson. This is Josh Elwer from the University of Northern Iowa, and you're listening to Potentially Dangerous on IA Wrestle.
Hey, is this heaven?
No, it's Iowa.
From high school to international wrestling, on the mat and beyond, this is the Potentially Dangerous podcast with the guys from IA Wrestle.
If you're a fighter, you like a fight. If you're an American, you like a fight. If you're an Iowa Hawkeye, you know you're going to get a fight.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and all your podcast-friendly apps. And follow us on social media platforms at IA Wrestle. Time to strap it up and get to the show.
When the whistle go.
Welcome back to Potentially Dangerous, presented by My House Sports Gear. This is episode 77. I'm your host, Tony Hager, joined by Ross Bartachek today. Been a couple of weeks since we've been able to talk a little wrestling on Potentially Dangerous, but we're back. Huge weekend in high school wrestling behind us, and then previewing here the Ad Haddonfeld Wrestling Invitational that we'll do a little preview for. But Ross, welcome back. We're talking wrestling again. It's good.
We're talking wrestling again. Like you said, we've been on a brief hiatus, and there's just been so much that's happened since the holidays and after it. It's good to be back talking wrestling.
Yeah, we rolled out this new little post that Lars and Kirk and Eric have all kind of been contributing to. Has been like the upsets of the weekend or the highlight matches. So I invite you, if you haven't checked that out, definitely go back and look at that. It cannot be easy to do that, to find out every single individual matches. When you track wrestling, it makes it really easy, but it still takes time to put that together. But over the weekend, I was at the Mendenhall. We streamed the event, so we've got archives up on that. So you can go to the website, click on Watch Live, and you can find the archives for the whole event. And there just were some really good storylines from there. Colin Newell from Ames, the 285-pounder. He was like on the 8th, 10th. He's kind of really been on the outskirts of being highly ranked, but man, wrestling in front of hometown crowd, a senior, and ended up knocking off the number 3 and number 4 ranked wrestlers in 3A. So huge weekend for him. I mean, the kid's 19-2 on the season. I got to imagine he's going to climb the rankings here a little bit.
Yeah, he definitely had a fantastic weekend, and I think if you're looking at the Mendenhall results, Skylar Knopsker, hope I'm saying that right, of Ballard, he had a big weekend too. He took first at 138, defeated Tanner Abbas of Clarion Goldfield, Dow's, who we all know is pretty good in the finals. I mean, there's some tough kids in this bracket. Zach Oldham of Valley, of course, Dylan Ironside. I think he might have been ranked in the preseason. So there's a lot of quality kids in that 138 bracket. So it was a good tournament by him to come out on top.
Yeah, Skylar's unranked by the rankers. So, and he really dominated Tanner Abbas from his feet the whole match. Tanner didn't look like he was all there. I don't want to make excuses for him, but or take any away from Skylar. But he didn't look like he was all there. But it was all Skylar in that matchup for sure. I mean, so you can go back and check that out, obviously on iawrestle.com. And some other results from that event is Jake Waters had a huge tournament, beat Runyon in the semifinals. Runyon, I believe, is ranked 4th. So Waters coming away with a title at 132 pounds. Then he beat Braden Curry in the finals. So 2 top wrestlers, number 1, number 2. Another, Shea Ruffridge had a good tournament over Thompson, and Nick Oldham at 106. So Nick has been wrestling 113 pounds, and he's gone down to 106 and hasn't looked to be 100%. I don't know if he's cutting a lot of weight, but beating Conrad Braswell really kind of changed my mindset of, is Nick Oldham going to be okay at 106? And I think the extra hour of weigh-ins helped him, because he in the duels he looks different, but the tournament he looked healthy.
Well, yeah, I definitely didn't get a chance to watch the match, but Conrad Braswell's a name that we've known for a long time. He's kind of a relevant middle schooler. When he came into high school as a freshman, we kind of knew who he was. So I think Oldham beating him here in this match really reaffirms that he's one of the top guys at this weight. I think we know Cullen Shriver is going to be a tough test for him when we get down the road next month. But like you said, this was a really good tournament for Oldham. It's good to see him performing at 106 pounds. I just think it's a really good takeaway to see him winning this tournament, no matter what the margin is.
And the most controversial match was Joel Shapiro and Billy Higgins. Got the video up on our Facebook page, and it's really just kind of blown up a little bit. So the match was in the tiebreakers, and the video is a little misleading because there was another 30-second to go after that, and Joel ended up winning the match and getting an escape. And so there would have been more time. Billy Higgins would have had did have an opportunity to beat him in that second tiebreaker, but didn't get it done. But I wanted to get your take on what you thought you saw as far as escape, takedown, no points, because it was bang bang. It's hard when you don't actually get an official review of what the match happens. I don't know if I blame the officials for making the no call there.
Are you getting any feedback on your end, Tony? Okay, sorry. I don't know why I'm just hearing sounds like you're rubbing your microphone or something. I don't know. But all right, if you're not hearing it, then 3, 2, 1. That Higgins Shapiro match. You put that teaser video on our Facebook page to really let people see it. And to me, man, I don't know. I love my boy Joel Shapiro. I think it looked like, while I'm watching the clock that Higgins might have got out, but you're saying it's bang bang. I thought it probably was an escape, but it was so close. I hate to be wrong, but I think it was.
The angle too, so there's some pictures that were put up as well, where Shapiro still had his arm actually on his leg, kind of caught it, but if you look at the video, you don't see that arm. So, I think they were out of bounds personally, but it's just a very interesting way to end that bout, and I don't think they're going to be able to wrestle each other again. But obviously Joel Shapiro comes out on top, and everybody in Iowa's happy, but Nebraska people aren't too pleased. And then right after that, we get another barn burner. Ben Saracen puts Marcus Coleman on his back for what felt like an eternity. I mean, he had Coleman almost stuck. I actually met with the official yesterday. I was on the call, and man, he said there's multiple times that he almost ringed him up, but it didn't need about another inch to go. But Marcus Coleman's found himself in this trouble a couple times. He was in a headlock at the Council Bluffs Classic, and he's able to come back and just needs to clean up that first period, and he's just going to dominate everybody. So kind of crazy to see him almost go down.
I think we've seen this quite a bit out of Coleman. He really wrestles pretty loose. And it gets him into trouble, in matches like this. It gets him in trouble at Fargo. So I think the biggest thing for Marcus is to kind of try and find that equilibrium where he's wrestling loose, not too tight, but so he's still able to score because we know he's pretty good on his feet. I think that's pretty evident. Ben Saracen's no slouch at this weight. I think at one point he might have even been ranked number 1 for us last year. He had a couple good wins. And I'm kind of encouraged by the performance out of Saracen because coming into this season, I kind of thought Coleman was going to walk away with this weight. And now we're kind of seeing he's got a challenger. I think Marcus is still the clear favorite, but it's nice to see that he's going to have somebody push him to be, as good as he can be. And it sets up a really good battle next month at the Wells.
Yeah, I think if they both make it there, there's obviously going to be some confidence from Saracen that was able to do that to Coleman, but he just got to put a full match together. And then other results, Caden Sauer, he beat Connor Corbin. I didn't think Corbin would be able to be beat. Corbin is just so solid from his feet, and he just blasts through people. But Caden able to get it done. Close match, 3-1. It was not too exciting, but he was able to get it done. And that Newell match, obviously we mentioned him already at heavyweight, defeating Likas. So kudos to that man. So what all went out in Benton too? I know you weren't at Benton, but the Jack Eckenrod. I know Lars was there. We have some videos up on that on YouTube for free. The Mendenhall, it's behind a paywall. But what did you see out in Benton?
There was some really good results. Williamsburg taking the team title kind of surprised me. Bosco was out there, big 1A power. Davenport Assumption was there. So I was really surprised to see Williamsburg come home with the title. And I think a big reason they did come home with that title was at 106, Grayson Kesterson. There's a reason he's on our Stock Up report, and that's because he was able to get a pin over Union's Jack Thompson, who was ranked number 2. I believe Kesterson came into that match number 4, so we'll probably see some movement in Lars's next set of rankings. Some people say that Kesterson, that match was a quick fall, was called there on Thompson. Maybe that's the case. I didn't think too much of the call. I thought it was fine. I thought it was well within the bounds of a good call. So just a good performance by Kesterson, and I think the other big match was at 120, where Gable Fox came out on top of Brock Henderson, and Gable really just controlled that whole match. So Brock Henderson, number 1 ranked kid, not able to get it done, defend his number 1 status. Gable Fox really coming on strong here. Yeah,
it was a crazy weekend for upsets, and that's what you like to see this time of the year. I think you do see a lot of that this time of year, just because coming after Christmas break, not everybody's in the wrestling room 5 days, 6 days, 7 days out of the week. So I think you do see some of those upsets, and a tournament that Southeast Polk usually comes away with. They've come away with the title before. The Cheesehead too. I want to touch base on that. We won't go into too much depth on it, but I think the couple things to talk about would be Austin Yant, obviously claiming the 152-pound title there, and beat a couple nationally ranked wrestlers, and number 3 and number 7 in Illinois. So that was I'll say it was a surprise, but out of both the teams, I wasn't thinking Austin Yant would come away with the Cheesehead title. I mean, to be honest. So kudos to Austin Yant and Wavy Shellrock.
Yeah, I also liked Zach Wagenhofer's performance out there. You look at, he takes 4th at 160 pounds. His losses came to Brady Berge. I think a lot of fans that follow wrestling nationally know that name out of Casson Manterville in Minnesota, the top 10 recruit in the 2017 class. And he also took a loss to Tyler Dow in the 3rd place match, who's another guy that's nationally ranked. And he wrestled him to a 2-0 decision, Tyler Dow, he did. So I thought out of Waverly Shellrock's performance, obviously Austin Yant had the best performance. Wagenhofer looked really good. And then Evan Yant just continues to come on. I think we're going to see a lot of good things out of him in the future for them too.
And switching gears to Southeast Polk, Gavin Babcock made the finals, and I think that was a pretty big deal for Babcock's confidence. He hasn't had much success in wrestling leading up to this. I think at one point he wanted to quit. He was a 500 as a freshman record. He's been on JV as a sophomore. As a junior last year, he got 17th at this tournament. So, to be able to come back and make the finals, and easily one of the probably the toughest tournaments during the season for high school wrestling, I think that's definitely something positive for Southeast Polk to maybe not their big names, I guess, on their team. So Babcock coming up big.
Babcock came up big for sure. That's incredible to go from. I guess I don't know. I didn't hear that he was maybe even thinking about leaving the team, but A second place finish at the Cheesehead. I mean, it's on the same level of surprise as I didn't expect Austin Yant to come away with the title, and I didn't expect Gavin Babcock to be in the final. So kudos to both those guys wrestling tough last weekend.
Well, he wasn't thinking about leaving the team like now. I was talking about like out of junior high. Like junior high, he didn't have,
gotcha.
Junior high he didn't have much success. So, if you're not winning in the Southeast Polk room, it's sometimes imagine it could be, not be a tough thing to do to keep grinding, to be able to go through your senior year and try to have a shot for a state title still. So.
They develop. I think that's something that gets overlooked, and we probably talk about Southeast Polk maybe a little too much on this, but they truly do develop, and I think people are they're burying their head in the sand if they don't believe that. They take guys that maybe didn't have the most success, and they really do turn them into quality young men and quality wrestlers on the mat. So,
and I want to switch gears to college wrestling. It's almost kind of been like people don't really talk about it because they just expect it to happen. And Eric Shares did something. Death taxes and 2 teams winning national dual titles. You put Grandview and Warburg in that mix. I mean, Warburg won their 7th straight. Grandview won their 6th straight. Just continued to dominate. And it is. I mean, the people are just expecting it, so it's not like a big deal anymore. But in all sports, the national duels isn't as prestigious as the NAI national championships or Division III national championships, but it's a big deal, I think, to win any kind of national title that multiple times in a row as a dynasty, and in dynasty in any sports. If you saw that in the Big 12 or Division I, everybody would be talking about it, but these lower divisions, it's not a whole lot discussed. So, unfortunately, that's where we're at. But in the end, we're going to promote the heck out of Grandview and Wartburg because they're just dominating. I mean, Iowa's dominating all these divisions. Need to get the Hawkeyes up there. They're close. We've got Corey Clark in the lineup now. So, what do you think about seeing Corey in the lineup? I mean, that was something I didn't think we'd see for a while.
Yeah, Brands had that interview on Track Wrestling. We kind of talked about that in the preview leading into the Michigan road trip, that Brands said he was going to be in the lineup. Still seemed to be some skepticism among fans. Even, like you said, we were a little tentative about seeing him, but he makes his debut against a top 10 guy, Stefan Micic. Looked real tough. He scored a escape and riding time point where was his 2-0 win. So no offensive points in that match. But, there's no tougher way to come out after missing over a month than wrestling a top 10 guy, a guy that's won a junior world bronze medal. Clark looked good in his comeback. Kind of wish he would have got a major against Michigan State. He finished with a 7-0 win. So I'm kind of wondering, if he's going to get his lungs back. Is he still working into competition shape after missing a month? He hasn't been live. He's been live in the practice room, which is a big difference, really. So I thought Clark looked great versus Micic, and I think he's still got a little ways to go to being back to the Corey Clark we're used to seeing, though.
Yeah, I think if he's getting more live matches, that's obviously what the Iowa Hawkeyes need to have for the team, and then obviously if they're looking for a national championship, they got to have Corey Clark in the lineup. I didn't think we were going to see Corey until March, the end of February. So to see him now, I'm surprised. I'm still shocked that they had him on the mat based off of what I know, I guess. So I think that maybe the first diagnosis wasn't as bad as people thought. So I guess I have to continue to monitor that and see where he's at. But Micic is no slouch. I mean, that is kind of like my sleeper of this weight class. That guy's a grinder, and pretty tough match to be thrown to the wolves at against Stephen Micic. So, anything else you saw from college wrestling over the weekend? I think the youth Iowa Hawkeyes and Iowa State, they continue to put up big wins. Iowa State hasn't been putting their young guys in the lineup, and they're not doing as well, and neither is Iowa. But some of those redshirt freshmen, Kemmer is outperforming what we thought we'd see so early in his career.
Yeah, Kemmer ranked number 2 in the nation at 157 by Track Wrestling. That's a really huge surprise. He's earned it, beating guys like Tyler Berger. He's going to have Joe Smith of Oklahoma State this weekend, so he's going right back into the fire. He beat Brian Murphy, who's a pretty slick guy. I don't know if you've seen the matches or if people listening have, but I mean, Murphy is unbelievable in the leg pass situation, and that's kind of how he got Kemmer on the first takedown. Kemmer able to really come back and beat him in that position, particularly in the third period, to get the win. So Kemmer's looked great. Gunther got a win over Drew Hughes, guy we're familiar with from the Night of Conflict. I mean, he's a hammer on top. And, Gunther manages to avoid being turned over, gets the win no matter how ugly it is. And then you had Cash Wilkie getting a win over number 25 Jackson Sturgo of Michigan. So, I mean, the young guys coming into this lineup. Topher Carton, too, as a rookie. He hasn't been a starter, came in, got a win over Javier Gasca at Michigan State. Just really good guys in their first year starting for the Hawkeyes. Iowa State, they're happy to get Pat Downey back, that's for sure. They really need to figure out 165 for them. Dane Pistano having a hard time making weight. And Logan Breitenbach, I believe, made his return to the lineup. He's been missing some time with injury. He kind of had a rough go. I mean, like you talk about getting thrown to the wolves. Try having your first match be against Anthony Valencia of Arizona State. And then he kind of got roughed up at the Pat Flash Flanagan Open this weekend too. Breitenbach did. So Iowa State still needs to figure out a couple weights, what they're going to do for the postseason, but they're definitely looking more complete than they were in November.
Yep, you're talking about weights, what teams are looking like, and UNI comes to mind right away with this whole Freddie Stroker leaving Minnesota thing. I think that shocked a lot of people, especially to do it mid-season. And from what I've been told, family wants him to stay in state. He obviously is not going to go to a Big Ten school, probably because of loss of eligibility. So, Northern Iowa, I think, definitely has a foot in that door. He was in attendance at the UNI duel with his dad, and saw practice, toured the facilities, and I definitely think there's a good possibility we could see Freddie Stroker in Cedar Falls. If you think about this, Max Thompson, Freddie Stroker, and Bryce Steyer. I mean, some of the top 3 guys that we were talking about at the state wrestling tournament just a couple of years ago. And then they're going to be back-to-back, Murderers Row right there. That's going to bring some fans into West Gym. I know that.
Insane heart of the lineup for Schwab and the Panther Train. You kind of hit on he'd be reunited with Max Thompson, a guy he was pretty close with. They wrestled out at Dapper Dan, wrestled on Team USA or they wrestled for Team Iowa when Team USA came in. They got a really good relationship. They were at the Missouri Brawl too, if you remember that.
Yep, the Border Brawl.
Border Brawl, that's what it is. And Jay Schwarm, another Bettendorf guy that's on the roster at UNI, gets to be reunited with him if he does go there. I guess I should caveat, but that would be really fun to see for UNI to get him back. Schwab's got that team trending in the right direction. Hey, did you see what his sister tweeted? Oh my God!
Freddie's sister, yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome. Where we tweeted that Freddie in attendance at the UNI Northern Illinois duel, wearing a Steelers jersey. Oh man! And then his sister tweeted, "Anybody that cares, I'm sitting at home watching." I can't remember what she said and what she was wearing. Oh my God, that's hilarious. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to give props to that because that genuinely made me chuckle.
Yeah, that was good. It's like, Freddie all the time, and she just comes with that. So that was good. That was good to see. So we'll definitely be on top of the Freddie watch. If he's in Iowa, we're going to know about it. So we will let you know where he lands. And, that's just kind of an interesting story. I go all the change up there. Larry Early leaving too. So kind of weird deal up in Minnesota. I think that's gonna hurt their recruiting even more that they're seeing these big-time recruits leaving. So I do think there's more to the story than, hey, we just want to go. I think there's an underlying, really a good story there. But we haven't unturned that rock, I guess, yet. So we'll keep you up to date on that. I'm trying to think of anything other college news, around the state, really. I mean, obviously there are teams out in Indiana. JUCO teams came up short. Not a good performance by them, but obviously Warburg, NAI, the Grandview team come away with another title. Let's go to this weekend. Big tournament that we streamed last year, Ed Hadenfeld in Solon, Iowa, and that's going to be going down around 9:30, 10 o'clock on Saturday. Large is going to be there streaming that. The number 1 team in 1A, Lisbon's will be there. Number 2 team in 2A, Solon, obviously they're hosting, and the number 4 team, West Liberty, will be there. Obviously, and also Albia, Center Point, Urbana, Clear Creek, Amana, Iowa Valley, North Cedar, Vinton, Wapello, Washington, West Branch, Cedar Rapids Prairie JV will be there as well. So this is going to be setting up a couple interesting bouts. I think the one that really jumps out to the screen for me is 113 pounds, Cale Happel versus Aiden Reeves, 1A versus 2A. Kind of, Aiden Reeves had all the buzz around him as a freshman. Now Cale Happel is that guy. Cale Happel is the guy that has all the buzz around him at number 1. That's going to be, if we see it, I guess. He's got Devon Meeker there too, number 2, and then Carter Weeks, number 5. So 113 pounds is absolutely loaded.
113's loaded, 106 is loaded. Got Kobe Seabrick of Lisbon, who's number 2 in 1A, and then number 3 in 2A, Will Esmoil of West Liberty. That's going to be a fun potential finals. Of course, number 5 and number 6 in 2A also in that 106 bracket. I mean, honestly, that Cale Happel, Aiden Reeves, you got Council Bluffs, Mendenhall, Ed Winger's coming up. Honestly, that season pass, just to be able to see matches like Shapiro, Higgins, potentially Cale Happel, Aiden Reeves. I mean, there's a lot of reason to pick up that season pass on Track Wrestling to see these matches that we're putting out, Tony.
Yeah, $65 too. We're going to continue to add events to it. We'll be at the Ed Winger next weekend. So, these events, we're obviously going to add the season pass to next year. You'd have to rebuy next year, but $65, you'd go back, look at all the events that we've done. And I'm real close, I think, to maybe doing the CIML conference tournament. We'll have four cameras there. So that will be in a couple weeks possibly. So we'll be letting you know if we're gonna be there. But this is these will not be 113 pounds, 106 will be can't miss matches to watch this weekend at the Hadenfeld. So Lars will be there all day bringing you matches. Joe Kelly's out there too, number 1 at 152 pounds. Van Welden, number 4 in 2A. So that could be a potential finals matchup in the state wrestling tournament. Krakow and Nelson, number 2 and number 3 is there. This is a loaded tournament. Not as loaded as the Mendenhall or the Winger, but still going to have your crazy matchups. So, anything else? Coming up for you? I mean, we're not doing the plunge this year. That's coming up in a couple weeks. Are you going to do it? I know I can't.
I've potentially recruited a compatriot to go to the deep with me. I'm looking to add another one, and we're gonna need some ideas of what we're gonna dress up as. So you can always hit us up on Twitter if you got any funny ideas for IA Wrestle to bring home the costume contest.
That's the most important thing, is the costume contest trophy.
Yeah, I want that trophy.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't win it. We haven't really even come close. No one votes for us. But we lost to kids the first year. I mean, that was pretty hard not to. They deserved to win. And then last year was Marstaller.
Yep.
She dressed up as Marstaller. That was good. Chance Marstaller. So, yeah, that's coming to you in a couple weeks.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be, their Hawks are away this weekend, but then they go, they got Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, And Nebraska, they got 4 duels the next 4 weekends that'll be in Carver Hawkeye. I think they also have an away duel that same weekend as Nebraska, I want to say. So they got 5 duels coming up in the next, following this weekend. And then I'm sure Nick Ryder's going to be grinding it out in Cedar Falls. He even talked about maybe going out to Michigan for a duel. I don't know if it was the Central Michigan duel. Nick Ryder loves to just cover the Panther train.
Fired up chips. That'd be a fun duel to go to. Blood round.
Reunite with Blood round.
Yeah. If I didn't have kids or a wife, I'd definitely go. That would be a good time. Always the Blood round guys. Good opportunity to catch up with them. Well, all right. Well, let's wrap up episode 77. You can check out this podcast on iTunes, all your podcast-friendly apps. Then, obviously, the big weekend here with Ed Hadenfeld last weekend, the Jack Mendenhall. Check out all that on iawrestle.com. The season pass is $65 for all our events prior and going forward to in this season, this summer. And or you can just purchase the Ed Hadenfeld this weekend for $10. Whatever you got to do. If you just want to do pay-per-view each duel or each tournament, that's fine. Oh, we're also going to be at Fort Dodge Valley. That's going to be a big duel, number 2 versus number 3. We'll be streaming that from Valley. So keep on the lookout for that. But for Ross Barczyk, I'm Tony Hager. Until next time, right here on Potentially Dangerous, but presented by My House.
Get low when the whistle go.